welcome back to Books and Crannies.
A Book Lovers podcast. Why are you singing?
Do you know me at all? You've known me for half my life, Sarah. Come on.
Yes.
Our lives, half both, or just mine.
No, just yours.
I'm Danielle.
I'm Sarah.
Yeah. And y'all were finishing freaking Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. His name's Jason, right? Yeah, I was right. Swell.
Yeah, today we're going over
Chapter
16 through the end.
Yes. And so, you gotta grab a freaking snack.
And a drink.
And your favorite blankie.
And do some chores.
Sure.
Or just snuggle up.
Just sit there and listen.
Drive?
I don't think I could do that. Maybe like draw color.
You can't just sit and listen?
I don't think I could do that.
Me neither.
You know what I mean?
I gotta like play a game on my phone.
Yeah.
Or...
What are you guys doing while you're listening to this?
Yeah, I need to know.
Put it in a comment somewhere. But any freaking who, we should get right into it.
We should. Let's jump in.
Yeah, we gotta keep the energy alive.
We do.
We're both tired, guys.
Yeah, it's
so
a little later than normal.
This sucks. No, it's gonna be great.
We're gonna be sleeping by the end.
We're like, that's the last 30 minutes of the episode. Just to make it stretch to our normal time.
Yeah.
Just kidding. You're never gonna find out the ending.
Nope.
So yeah. We left off last week, guys.
Yeah.
One, we went on some wild ass tangents.
We sure did, and we were way off base with all of them.
I was gonna say we can't confirm or deny one way or another yet. Sarah.
You're right.
Just kidding.
Sorry.
These people have probably read it if
They
they're listening.
absolutely have.
But man, we went on a lot of tangents, and hear me out. I'm kind of sad.
I am too.
That nothing panned out.
The end.
Not a goddamn thing. Minus our sus.
Disappointing.
It kind of was.
Yeah.
It's still very good.
It is. Yeah. I still gave it. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah. God. Early. Jump the gun. But last time we ended off with Mitzi and frickin' Mallory trying to summon good old Anya.
Yeah.
To get some answers.
Yeah.
And Anya did, in fact, come and gave a bunch of jumbled letters.
Mitzi didn't believe her.
Mitzi got pissed.
She was like, "You're moving the thing, you bitch.
Stupid freaking hoe." That's what Mitzi said verbatim.
Yeah.
And Teddy burst in and, interrupted it.
Yeah.
And so he was like, what's a spirit board, bro?
Yeah, what is that? Can we play with it?
Can you bring the dead back?
Come
or
on.
you just talk to him? Or what's good?
Yeah.
What's good? And he draws a picture.
He does.
Of this event.
And his parents find it.
Yeah, but the picture is an angry Mitzi who's round.
She is very round.
So I think that gives us an idea of what Mitzi looks like with Mallory. And the ghost of freaking Anya.
Yeah, coming out of the friggin' Ouija board.
Yeah, she's just like,
yeah.
Up top, there's a bunch of candles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any weird hidden imagery.
No bunnies or gingerbread men with knives.
Yeah, but it is in Teddy's style. It's not in Anya's nice, well-practiced.
It's drawn by a 5-year-old for sure.
For sure. That's an easier way to have said everything.
I got you.
Great. Thank you. But his parents found it.
Yeah.
And they're pissed.
They're big mad.
Which, fair.
Yeah.
You know? I think I'd be also pissed.
Yeah. Well, number one, they told her to stay away from Mitzi.
Yeah.
Because Mitzi's a drug addict.
Does drugs. Sells them, probably.
Yeah.
And has weird people in and out all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of cuckoo.
Yeah. And then she...
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she brought Mitzi onto their friggin' property.
She sure
played
did.
with a Ouija board, and Teddy saw it.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's bad change
bad.
Of
It's really bad.
Insane.
Yeah.
But they're angry.
Yeah.
And they're like, so we gotta fire you.
Yeah.
They say it in a really nice and pleasant way, though. They're like, Karen's? Who's Karen? Caroline. It's like, it's, a new opportunity to move on.
Uh-huh.
Everything's gonna be fine, and, we just enjoyed having you, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Kissing ass.
Yeah.
Even though we all know she getting fired.
Mm-hmm.
And,
this isn't when she gets fired.
oh, shit.
She gets fired way later.
For a different reason?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
For drawing on their walls?
Oh, you're right. I lied to you. But they're kind of grumpy.
Yeah.
And they kind of start accusing her of being the one that's drawing all these images.
Yeah. And framing Teddy.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Come on.
Come on. Nah. But they're like, you gotta get it together. You gotta drop it all. And did they make her? No, they don't.
Nope, that's later too.
Yeah. I apparently have no idea where I am.
Well, they have this whole conversation. They're very, like, condescending to her. I feel like Caroline especially is like, we need to agree that ghosts don't exist.
Yeah. And through all of this, Mallory's like, okay, please explain the drawings, like how, because she shows them the drawings. All the ones that she's collected. Like, look at how these ones are professionally done. Like, who could have done that? Also, Teddy's room smells like death.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, this was pee.
It's pee.
No, big.
Those two things do not smell alike.
They're not the same.
Yeah.
And she's trying to, like, reason with them, and they just shut her down.
Yeah.
At every freaking opportunity.
They sure do. Little jerkies.
And Ted's kind of creepy.
Yeah, Ted's real creepy.
He's like, listen, Mallory, you're safe. You're not in any danger. I will never let anything bad happen to you. And, like, has his arm around her shoulder.
Yeah.
Y'all. But they take the night to cool off, go their separate ways, whatever. I'm kind of surprised they let her off the hook after that one, honestly.
Same.
Yeah. But then she hears from Adrian.
She does. He calls the next morning.
He's been asking his mom to uncover, like, dig around for information about Annie.
Oh, yeah. And she found something.
She found a little, like, book.
A little book.
Of
that's,
her
like, self-published.
Her cousin did it. George.
Oh, yeah, not self-published, but like,
basically.
a small published thing.
It's not like a publisher published it.
Right.
It's like a DIY.
Yeah, it's self-published.
You can do it yourself as
relative published.
Relative. There you go. Yeah, it's a little book.
Yeah.
And there's a sassy ass note. Do they look at it right now? They may or may not. Adrian's like, good news. I got some shit, brother. And she ends up, like, meeting. Oh, she goes to his house.
Yeah.
And his parents are having, like, a dinner party.
Oh, yeah.
And they have all these, like, hoity-toity friends around.
Yeah.
And she's maintaining her lie of being a freaking athlete at Penn State.
Yeah, because she walks in and Adrian's like, here's my friend. She's an athlete. Look at her.
Yeah. Yeah. Check her out. She's a runner.
Doesn't she look like she runs?
I think she ran there, so she's probably sweaty. That's what makes you a runner, is if you constantly have a nice gleam.
I must be a runner. I'm just kidding.
Forget the running. You don't need that.
I'm not that sweaty.
But freaking what's her face? Sophia.
Yeah.
Sophia.
Something.
Adrian's mom.
Yep.
It's like, had a lot of trouble finding anything at all about Annie. Like, she's not in public record. Like, there's really very little.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled upon a little newspaper article that we had one little copy of in the library. It was donated.
Yeah.
And there's a whole letter from Annie's cousin in the beginning that's really rude. He's like, she's kind of dumb, and she was really stubborn and hard to get along with, and, like, all this, like, kind of roasting her.
Yeah.
But it's a collection of her drawings.
It is. It's a little book.
It's a little bitty book.
A little itty bitty book.
And you know what, Sarah?
What, Danielle?
They look nothing like...
Well, and hang on.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I didn't say it earlier, and I should have. He also says that his cousin...
Annie.
Annie left Europe to come live with him and his wife.
Yeah.
And neither of them had siblings. I don't remember why this is important, but I remember it being important later. Neither of them had any siblings. Just remember that, okay?
Yeah, no, I think I know what you're getting at, but I also don't remember why it matters.
I don't remember why it's important, but I know it comes up again. Just remember.
So, come on, remember that.
Anyways,
for some reason. So they start flipping through all these drawings that have been collected from long gone Annie.
Yeah. And they look nothing like
they,
obvious.
they're very abstract.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of lines and dots and scribbles.
And I was looking at these, trying to figure out, like, what do they mean? There's a little face right there. Look at it.
He's going, ooh. It just looks like a little ghost.
A little ghost.
But yeah, no, they mean nothing.
They don't
They're
mean
meaningless,
anything. Yeah.
for sure. And there's only 3 of them, and they're very abstract. Nothing like any of the drawings that freaking Mallory's collected.
I remember why it's important later.
Okay.
Because I don't remember. I like remember, but I don't remember all the details. There's something that comes up later that's like him talking about a sister or something, and
the lady in the retirement home has something to do with this.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's Annie, actually.
Sure.
Maybe not Annie.
No.
The daughter?
Wait, is it Annie?
Did we even read this
No,
book?
isn't it? Is it the daughter?
I think it's the daughter of Annie. It is. Because Mallory later connects with her to be like, can you tell me your mom's name?
Oh, and then the son.
Yeah. Tells us some stuff.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the sister?
I don't know. I'm sure we may find out. Guys, we promise we read it. Maybe. We can probably get there, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Probably. I think. Oh, I
it's
just
right
found
here.
a passage. We found the same one.
What'd you find?
What you're trying to figure out here. Sophia's talking, and she's like...
Okay, it is the same. Are you on page 204?
Yeah.
Okay.
They talked about how Annie didn't have a will.
Yeah.
But that they did find one for George, her cousin.
Yeah.
Who passed in 1974, left everything to his wife, and then things
she
get
went
really
to Florida.
weird because Jean went to Florida, and when she passed, she left most of her estate to her daughters. But she also left $50,000 to a niece. But they didn't have siblings.
Right.
That's why it's important.
Yes.
And
the niece is Dolores.
Who is Annie's daughter.
Annie's daughter,
yeah.
who is the one in the retirement home, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. See,
we got there.
Together.
We got
Come
there.
on, guys. This is fine. Is it fine?
I don't remember any of this.
It's going to make for a really interesting episode. But yeah, Dolores is alive still in this retirement home. Mm-hmm. And she gets the contact information. I feel like Sophie gives it to her or something. And she's like, cool, hang on to this.
Sophie gives it to her.
Yeah. And they leave.
Sophia.
And Sophia, like, seems a little bit suspicious. Like, why are you investigating this so much? And they're like, just don't worry about it. She found some drawings of Annie's under floorboards. It's no big deal.
Yeah, we went over this already.
And Sophia says, if you start poking your noses into family secrets, someone may bite them off. Mm-hmm. That feels like a weird sus warning after knowing what happens. Why are you warning them? Or she's just being...
Don't read it into it too much. I think she can tell that he's lying, because she actually... That is why. Because she says, right before that, you were always a horrible... No. You were a horrible liar at age 4, and you're even worse now. This morning you said Mallory found the pictures in a closet. And he's like, under the floor in the closet, Mom. Jeez.
Yeah, he didn't, like, hide it very well.
Yeah, no.
He was doing a bad job. It's Adrian's fault.
Bad job.
That's right.
Yeah.
But then, Mallory stays and hangs out with Adrian for a while.
She does.
They get some churros,
Don't
hang
they
out
smooch?
in the back garden, smooch it out.
They smooch.
They get smoochy with it. Smooch. Smooch.
What was that laugh?
That was insane.
Are you trying to start a laugh clip right now?
I literally was about to say that. Get out of my head. How are you, me? We share one brain somehow. Yep. Anyway, then Adrian walks her home.
He does, which is sweet.
And they're smooching a bunch. They decide to go on a date.
Yeah.
The next day.
They're going to go next
At
day to dinner.
5:30.
He's going to bring her to Philly, and they're going to go to a restaurant.
Damn straight right, dude.
I know.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
But she's like, buddy, you can't come inside. I'm not having sex with you right now.
Also, I'm not allowed to have sleepovers.
Not allowed.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says something really sweet to her that I just want to read real quick. I want to learn everything about you. I want to change my major to Mallory Quinn and learn as much as I can. Aww.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I have a cavity.
This shit again.
Yeah.
But what does Mallory come across when she enters her little cottage?
She goes inside and there's none other than a drunk Ted sleeping in her bed.
This
Ted
is
bed.
So creepy.
Yeah.
So he's drunk, passed out.
Yeah.
Don't got no pants on.
Yeah.
He's in his undies.
Uh-huh.
Sleeping.
In her bed.
She wakes him up. And he's
drunk
like,
as hell.
oh, God. Caroline and I had a fight, and I came here?
Yeah.
Like, why? Does he explain that? I don't remember. But he's in her bed, and he's really freaking drunk, and she's, like, trying to take care of his ass and get him the hell out of there. Because, like, no thanks.
And he is, like, keeps apologizing profusely, and she's like, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah.
And this is on page 212. He says, of course you understand. You're a very empathetic person. That's why you're such a great mother.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not a mother.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, shit, you'd make a great mother.
Yeah. And then he starts talking about, like, getting out of Springbrook and how Caroline forced him there.
Yeah,
like,
he hates it.
He hates it there.
Yeah.
And he's, like, giving weird vibes to Mallory, like he's into her.
Yeah.
And she keeps trying to be like, you have a great life.
Yeah.
Springbrook is pretty. Like, please leave. What the heck? She's giving him water and shit. And he's talking about how, like, they could have gone anywhere because Caroline's dad's real money is what I was about to say.
He is real
big money. And when he leaves, she finds her bras in the bed, like several bras of hers.
He also reveals to her, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No.
I just want to touch on this.
Yeah.
Reveals to her that Caroline makes him sleep in the guest room.
Yeah.
And, like, they don't bang.
Mm-hmm.
They don't touch.
Mm-hmm.
And he
really
says
healthy
some
marriage.
creepy shit as he's leaving that I'm not asking you to take care of me. I'm saying I would take care of you.
Yeah.
Ew.
I would take care of you, Mallory. Nobody asked, Ted. Gah, get the heck out of here. Why are my bras in my bed? Why is the bed,
And she
like,
finds
wet?
this suspicious paper towel that she, like, picks up with tongs or something that's wet. I'm like, we all know what that is, Ted.
Yeah. Why? Ted's a
Ew.
creepo.
Yeah.
Big creep town.
When I read this chapter, I was like,
I know.
ooh.
The ick, man. The ick,
So much
hardcore ick. But, yeah.
Yeah.
So that happens. Then the next morning, she goes to the freaking big house.
Mm-hmm.
And Caroline's like, sorry about Ted.
Yeah.
He's a lot. Or no, Ted and Caroline are both there. And she's like, can you sit down?
Yeah, Ted has something he'd like to say.
And he's hungover as shit.
Yeah.
And he, of course, apologizes profusely. And she's like, it's accepted. I just don't want to fucking talk about it. Like, can we get over this? And when he leaves, Caroline's, we fought. Did he tell you about it? And she's like, no, he didn't tell me anything. And she keeps pressing, like, did he touch you?
Yeah.
It must have been bad. I'm embarrassed. Like, all this stuff. And she's like, okay, listen, Caroline, he didn't lay a hand on me. Like, it's all okay.
Everything's fine. Can we just move on?
And Caroline reveals some more stuff about Ted, about how, like, he's...
His work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in, like, a midlife crisis, but also his work is really nothing. Like, it's a
Yeah.
one-man gig.
She thought he was all, like, big and important, but he just, like, owns his own company, and things have not been going well for him.
No. He doesn't really have anything going for him in his company. Even though he's, like... he had talked to Mallory early in the book about, like, these big partners. And Caroline's like, he's called them. Like, but nothing has transpired.
Yeah,
like,
well,
it's
and
nothing.
she says, like, but he talks about, like, going to lunch with his coworkers all the time, and she's like, yeah, those are just, like, office
They're in the
sharers.
WeWork. Yeah. Like a share space.
Yeah.
So Ted is really good.
Mm-hmm.
They're all just great. But then Teddy enters the room.
Yep.
And he's got an iPad.
Yeah. And Caroline tells Mallory that he's taking a break from drawing.
You know what is now interesting?
Huh.
Knowing how everything goes down.
Huh.
The iPad and, like, screen time reference later on. Eventually, Caroline, the whole reason for what ends up happening is because, like, neglectful to have screen time.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but anyway, Teddy has a freaking iPad playing Angry Birds.
Yeah.
And he's, like, enamored with it.
I forgot about that. I didn't think about that, is really what I meant to say.
I didn't think about it till now, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's his, Caroline's distraction.
And and she, like, took all his art supplies and put them above the fridge where he can't reach them.
Yeah. Rude.
Yeah, very.
And that's a great solution. Let's just pretend like nothing's happening and give
shove him behind a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Caroline leaves. And Mallory's like, all right, put that away. That's for quiet time. It's not for right now, kid. And he's like, so they go start exploring the forest again. And he's just talking about Angry Bird fucking strategies.
Yeah. I'm like, kid, come on.
The obsession.
Yeah.
But when they get back, it's time for quiet time.
Yep.
And Mallory's like, what about some, like, Legos or, like, anything else? And he's like, no, I'll just take the iPad, thanks.
Yeah.
And goes up to his room.
He does.
And Mallory all the while is thinking about, like, I should do something nice and, like, go get food to make him a dinner and take Teddy with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna, like, set up this date for Ted and Caroline because they just had a fight last night. And make it nice and sweet for them.
But I'm just gonna sit and rest for a second.
Yeah, I'm just gonna close my eyes for a second.
Just gonna take a load off while
Girl's
good old Teddy...
got friggin' narcolepsy, dude.
I guess.
Every time she's like, I'm gonna just close my eyes, she's like...
I'm out. Yeah. But this one is different.
Yeah.
For sure.
She wakes up hours later.
I think doesn't she have a dream in all of this?
She
does. She has a dream about hanging out with Teddy at, like, this amusement park, and she, like, loses sight of him, and then she sees her sister, Beth, with her friend or something, and, you know, goes to her sister, because her sister's not alive in real life.
Yeah.
And, that's all, I guess. But who was Teddy turned into her sister? I think Teddy shows up again in the dream, too.
Then Teddy's back, yeah.
Oh, and in this interaction with her sister in her dream, Mallory says, like, you're here. I thought you were dead. I thought I killed you. Which I thought was interesting, because they'd never touched on Beth's death before. Or have they? I didn't think that Mallory thought it was her own fault.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was touched on in the first section.
It's in this section later. Okay. That they tell the story.
Okay.
She does.
That's right.
But yeah,
I don't think it had been touched on yet up until this point, I guess.
Yeah, so I tabbed that, like, why did Mallory think that she had killed her sister?
Yeah.
But then friggin' Teddy wakes her up.
Yeah, Teddy, like, reappears in her dream and he's, like, shaking her awake.
Yeah, and it's 4 hours later.
Yeah.
And
it's, like, 30 minutes before Adrian's supposed to be there to pick her up.
Yeah, less than.
Yeah.
And Teddy's like, the iPad's dead.
Yeah. She's like, what do you mean? It was a full charge. It's only been an hour.
Yeah. No. But then she gets up.
Yeah.
And
her fingers are dirty.
But her right hand, and she's also a lefty.
Yeah, she's covered in friggin'
charcoal.
Charcoal, thank you.
And, well, so are the walls.
Yeah. All of them.
And Teddy's like, my parents are going to be mad.
He's like, ha.
It's not me this time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and she's like, Teddy, why did you do this? And he's like, bitch, I didn't.
I've been playing my Angry Birds.
What do you mean?
You're the one who passed out for 4 hours without realizing it because you were possessed by Anya.
Yeah.
But,
we got some freaking drawings.
We got some drawings. We want to talk about them?
Yeah.
There's, like, the first one is an aerial view of a
child.
Child running.
Yeah.
In a
forest. Nothing too crazy happening.
No. Looks kind of nice.
The second one, though.
Yeah.
Is a child with an angel.
Uh-huh.
Like, reaching up to the angel.
Reaching down to her. Mm-hmm. In the forest still.
Again, nothing super creepy.
Interesting or creepy.
Interesting.
But the next one's angel's walking away.
Yeah, with the child.
And then the one following is a see a woman, seemingly, chasing after the child and the angel.
Yeah.
Who are walking away. Also
she's like, hey, wait!
Excuse me.
The next one is just running feet.
Yeah.
In a white dress, it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, and the woman chasing after the angel and the child is in a white dress. So then we get foot shot of white dress lady running after child and angel.
Feet finder. And then the one after that is you see the woman in the white dress more clearly. She has long, dark, black hair, as we've known Anya to have. And the little girl is, like, looking up at the angel. The angel seems reactionary.
Yeah.
It seems like some sort of confrontation. And that's all.
That's all.
Folks. The end. Just
the end. See you next week. Bye.
Yeah. But, of course, Mallory's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah, this is real bad. I need to hide this now. Bad. I gotta go.
Okay,
I gotta go get a magic eraser and get rid of all of this.
Or something. But it's like 5:15.
5:27.
Okay. And she just does not have time.
Why you gotta be such a turd?
The book?
Yes. 5:23. So 7 minutes until people are supposed to be there.
Yeah. And she hears cars coming.
Yeah.
At least Caroline and Ted.
Yeah.
And tells Teddy to go upstairs because she just want him to be here for this. And they enter. And Ted's like, what's all over your hands? What the heck? And she's like, something happened.
That's really bad, guys. I'm sorry.
And she tells them that, like, Anya took control of her. Her spirit took control of her body.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know it sounds freaking crazy, but Anya did all this shit. She got the crayons and stuff out while I was sleeping. And
she made me do it.
Yeah, and Adrian is also there. He's come in, too.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's okay, baby.
Yeah, I got
it's
you.
Fine.
You were just possessed, but you're fine. Yeah. I've got you now, boo.
He's the only one that will, like, believe her.
Yeah.
In this crew. But they go into the living room. And Caroline's like, she's still telling the story. Like, you went out for quiet time. I don't know what happened. 4 hours passed. All this crazy shit.
And look, all of this friggin' graphite on my hands. But I'm friggin' left-handed like Teddy, and it's on my right hand. So, couldn't be me.
Yeah. I mean, this would be very hard to prove to somebody who doesn't believe in any of it.
Yeah.
It does seem like you just did it, for sure.
Absolutely.
But she's going on and on.
Yeah.
And Caroline is like, 4 freaking hours? You left my son unattended for 4 hours? What the damn hell?
Yeah.
First, you need to take a talk screen, and I'm also going to call police if you don't. The police.
The police. And Adrian's like, a talk screen? She's not on drugs. Why would you do that?
That's silly. And then she's exposed now to Adrian.
Yeah.
And has to, like, tell him that she's not an athlete at Penn State, that she was a user. All of these things. Or at least Caroline, you know, and Ted and everyone expose her.
Yeah. Well, and she had decided that she was going to tell Adrian that night at dinner.
Yeah.
And now she doesn't get the luxury of telling him, like, on her own terms.
I know. It's just a bad chain of events.
Yeah.
But that, like, Adrian, you know, shrinks away from her. He's just upset that she lied to him.
Yeah.
I think.
He
also took pictures of all the images on the wall.
Yeah.
Just register that for later. And he leaves.
He does. He's like, I'm out. I am out of here. But then
he goes running to his truck.
Yeah.
He's like,
I
real
gotta
shook
go.
up.
I think he's probably, like, sad.
Yeah, and hurt.
He's
just hurt. His feelings are hurt.
Mine would be, too.
Yeah. That's a big thing to lie about.
Yeah.
Especially,
well, like, you know, I'm the kind of person, like, I don't judge you on your past.
Yeah, not
unless
at all.
you've, like, murdered someone.
Yeah, that'd be a hard no.
Hard pass for that.
I don't want to be friends with murderers, but...
But, like, the fact that she couldn't trust him with that, you know.
Yeah.
Sad.
I know, it is sad. Especially once they started making out and wanted to go
yeah. He likes you.
To
He's not going to care about your past.
Yeah, but you should have told him from the beginning. It's far worse to tell him freaking
however
many weeks
By the way, I lied to you. I'm not an athlete.
Now that we made out. But yeah, she keeps trying to convince Caroline, and Caroline makes her take a test.
Yeah, they go take a drug test.
Yeah. And
I was convinced while we were waiting for the drug results that somehow it was going to come up positive.
I thought about that too. Well, I thought about when she was in Mitzi's house, like looking through her drug cabinet, and I'm like, maybe she's actually been on drugs this whole time.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we talked about that last time.
Otherwise, yeah.
About how maybe she's in this friggin' simulation.
Yeah.
That she's just high this whole time.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to do research or something. But yeah,
alas. But okay, before the results come back, Caroline's talking to her about how like this is a representation of trauma, like you're outwardly drawing things that are buried in you.
Yeah, trying
like art therapy, and she's like, it's a symbolic representation, visual metaphor about your younger sister, like how you lost her, and she's trying to therapize.
Yeah.
She's like, I am a therapist, so I
know everything.
That's story.
Yeah.
She's like, she says...
Well, and Mallory keeps saying, like, well, what about this? And what about this? What about the strangling? Yeah. And Caroline's like, well, that's the hold the drugs had on you. And
yeah. Yeah. She's trying to make everything this, like, deep meaning metaphor. Yeah. She's like... It's about her sister, you want to bring her back, but it's too late. She's fallen into a valley of death. And then an angel comes to help her. Nothing too subtle about that metaphor, right? Angels leading Beth towards the light, and you can't stop them. Beth has crossed over. She's never coming back. You know this, Mallory. And she just keeps going on and on.
Yeah.
And freaking Mallory's like, no, dude, no. It's not what it's about. But she does start to, like, second guess herself a little bit. She's like, am I making shit up? Like, am I insane?
Am I losing my mind?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's so many freaking things.
Yeah.
She's like, Mallory keeps asking her questions, like, justify this, justify that, you know? And she's like, okay, but what about all the other pictures? The woman being strangled, you said that one. An abstract concept made literal, maybe grief or addiction, the stranglehold that drugs put on your body. And she's like, okay, but what about the woman getting dragged through the forest? She's like, perhaps there's someone who pulled you out of danger. A sponsor? Or mentor?
Yeah.
Why is he burying me? He's not. He's freeing you.
Yeah, he's pulling you out. He's not burying you. He's certainly not throwing dirt on you with that shovel.
Yeah. Freaking Caroline.
Yeah.
But everything comes up negative on her drug test.
Sure freaking does.
And she keeps just saying, like, dude, I didn't do this. It was not me. It was not me. Mm-hmm. And this is where she knows she's being fired.
Yeah.
Caroline's saying it in, like, a nice, friendly way. But she's like, well, I'm fired. For sure. And then Russell calls her when she gets back to her cottage.
Yeah. And he's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
She says, I think I lost my job. And he's like, no, you definitely lost your job.
Yeah.
Caroline texted me the pictures.
Yeah. I know.
How? Listen, I don't remember how Russell knows these people.
I don't know. Friends or friends of friends or...
But it just... I have questions about him.
Yeah.
I just... Well, I still get a weird vibe from him.
She ends up living with him.
I know. I just get a weird vibe.
Yeah. I don't know. He's not really mentioned much more.
He's not.
But in this conversation, he's like, you know, it's all right. You'll come live with me. Mm-hmm. Like, for temporarily. We'll get you on your feet.
Yeah.
She's like... Thanks,
fine, I guess.
Thanks, Russell, whatever.
Yeah.
But she sleeps. She sleeps a lot. Wake up.
I'm trying.
And when she gets up, she finds a note from Caroline. That's like, you know, everyone's shook up. And Teddy, we told him that you're going to be leaving, so we're taking a beach day to, like, distract him.
We're going to take him away.
It's going to be fine. So, yeah. Then she goes...
Oh, and she tells him in the letter that Russell called and because he's out of town somewhere, but he booked a flight, and so he's coming.
On the red eye. He's coming by Monday. She's got a couple days to get her shit together. And Adrian shows up, and he's like, we gotta talk.
Yeah, but not here.
Let's go.
And they get in the car,
Yeah.
And he drives her to her old house.
Yeah, where she grew up.
Which is...
like, mom's house.
I still don't understand why.
I don't either.
Why'd he do that?
I don't know. I don't know if he was trying to, like, bring her home, put her somewhere safe, but she's like, I haven't talked to my mom in forever.
Yeah.
Like, why'd we come here? Also, how'd you know
Drive
about
the fuck away, dude.
What the heck, dude? And there's some random man on a ladder outside, and she's like, get out of here. And
yeah.
so
he looks like, are you guys okay?
Yeah. She's like, let's go.
Get
Come
me
on.
out of here.
What the dang heck? And they go to a little park. And he's like, all right, you gotta tell me the truth. Tell me everything. And so she does. And she tells a story about how she was, like, a competitive runner and injured herself.
Yeah, she got, like, a stress fracture.
And was prescribed oxys. And
was supposed to take one a day.
Yeah.
Seems, reasonable.
Right. For a little while.
Yeah.
And so she did that for some time. And then one day her mom wanted her to take her sister Beth and her Beth's friend to the amusement park.
Chang Wang,
yeah. So, because mom had to work or something. And
yeah.
So she did. And she was, like, all irritated about it. Like, oh, I have to lug my little sister around. Gross.
Yeah.
And on the drive there is texting her team. Like, she would have gone to a meet.
Yeah. Even though she couldn't, like... participate, she wanted to be there to support her team.
Yeah, so she wants to know what's good.
Yeah.
How they're placing.
Well, and at this point, hadn't she started taking the oxys more, right? She's not just on one a day anymore?
I think after her...
Oh, no, yes, it's after the accident.
Yeah. But she's texting, getting updates, and then the next thing she knows, she is blacked out and is waking up in a hospital.
Yeah. She, like, looks back at her sister and her friend, and then looks at her phone... and looks back at them again, and looks at her phone, and then she wakes up in the hospital.
Yeah. And...
don't text and drive.
Right.
Kids.
Yeah.
And adults.
Yeah. Don't do it. Just don't.
It's a trap.
But apparently there was something on the road. Like, something fell on the road.
Yeah.
And everyone was okay. She was seriously injured.
Yeah.
But her sister died.
Yeah.
In this accident.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's really sad.
I know.
Yeah, her sister and Mallory, like, came pretty close to dying, too.
The sister's friend?
Huh?
You said her sister and Mallory came pretty close.
Yeah, Mallory's sister died. And Mallory came close to it. But everyone else was, like, unharmed.
Okay. Yeah. But, yeah, Mallory's got serious injuries and needs more pain meds.
Yeah.
And she feels very guilty, like, that it was her fault. And she ran through a bunch of options and, she just takes the blame on herself. Mm-hmm. But, of course, her oxy freaking prescription turns into an addiction.
Yeah.
Like, she can't stop it. And it's getting expensive to buy off the streets.
Yeah.
And she ends up doing heroin.
Because it's cheaper.
And, I mean, narcotics and heroin are very similar.
Yeah.
And that's when she started doing drugs, man.
Yeah.
And after that, like after high school, she ended up living with an older guy, for a while. And stopped talking to her mom. Because her mom was like...
her mom kind of cut her off.
Yeah. From the drugs.
Yeah.
And she finishes all the story, like... grateful that she never got any serious diseases from all of this.
Yeah, using needles and stuff.
Yeah. And tells him that she's, like, always felt that it was her fault. And he's like, you can't know that.
Yeah. You maybe would have swerved out of the way, but you might not have. If you had seen it coming, you could have reacted in a way that would have gotten all of you killed.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, he didn't say that.
That's true. I mean, if you veered into another lane or something, like...
there's, like, a statistic that... more drunk drivers survive crashes than sober people because they, like, don't have the time to react.
Yeah.
Where a sober person reacts right away. Mm-hmm. And so, like, sometimes your reactions are what get you killed.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the case of drunk people, they're more, like, wiggly.
Loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, who knows? Any change in that circumstance could have been bad, too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to know. Poor Mallory.
Yeah.
But...
that's gotta be hard, though.
For sure. Ugh. And Adrian says as much. Like, he's like, must be difficult to deal with all of that. And she misses her sister a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that he forgives her, and they go to leave. And he's like, okay, you lied to me. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. He says that, like, listen, when I left, I was pissed. Not because you lied to me, but you lied to my parents. It was really embarrassing. So, like, he was more embarrassed than mad.
Yeah.
I think. But then he tells her that, after I left yesterday, I couldn't go back home. I had to, like, you know, make it seem like we went on a date because I didn't want to answer a bunch of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, when I finally went home, I went up to my bedroom.
And there was a drawing on my desk.
And this was on my desk. And he pulls out a freaking drawing. And it's one we've seen already, I think, right?
And yeah, I think it's like slightly different, but it's the same scene. It's Anya presumably being strangled.
Yeah.
Like POV of the strangler.
Yeah.
And he's like, Anya wants me to know you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Like, she came to my house and is like, no, listen, she's not crazy.
Yeah.
Which that would be kind of spooky.
Yeah.
As Adrian.
For sure.
Come on.
No, thank you.
So they then decide
they gotta try to put the pictures together to make them make sense.
They gotta make a story.
Yeah.
Out of these cryptic ass terrifying pictures.
Yeah.
So they lay them all out. And the first one they've laid out, because they're trying to prove their story, right? They're trying to get a good argument to convince Caroline and fucking Ted to let her stay.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to stay after all this. But
me neither.
Whatever.
Especially after Ted being all creepy.
Yeah, no thanks. Bras in your bed, weird, suspicious, wet paper towel.
Wet goo.
Wet goo. Ugh. Anyway.
Sick. Anyways,
they start putting the pictures together. They decide the first one is a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, they probably went to a freaking hot air balloon festival or something and saw them all going up in the sky.
The second picture is Anya, presumably.
Yeah.
Drawing said hot air balloon.
Sure is. And then it zooms out a little bit to the next picture, being the little girl sitting behind Anya who's painting, playing with her tea set or whatever.
With her creepy bear with the creepy face.
And her
stuffed bunny.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the bunny?
What is the bunny? I wish it had more meaning, but
and then the next one is the freaking bunny.
It's a freaking bunny.
The real bunny.
And they think that, because the one after the real bunny, it's just a silhouette of a bunny. The one after is the girl who's like, cool, a bunny. And they're like, she had a stuffed bunny. So she saw the bunny and was like, that's like my buddy.
Look, it's my bunny buddy. My bunny friend. And then the next one is the girl following the rabbit.
Chasing the bunny.
As he hops away.
Yeah. And then the next one, she's approached by an angel. It's a picture with the little girl and the angel.
You skipped one, friend. Did I skip one?
What do you mean? Did I skip
pages? You sure freaking did.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry.
Jeez.
So she's going after the bunny.
Yeah.
The one after that is Anya still painting.
Mm-hmm. As the little girl runs away in the background.
Yeah, not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's an overhead of the girl still running.
Yeah.
In the forest. And then is the angel picture.
Yeah.
Sorry. Got ahead of myself.
Jeez.
What happens
next? The freaking angel in the forest walking away with the little girl.
Yeah.
Leading the little girl towards the light, presumably.
Lots of presumptions.
Yeah, and then someone's trying to stop him and chasing after him.
Yeah. And then after that, it's the feet.
The foot shot.
Feet finder. Lady in white dress feet.
And then it's the lady, confronting the angel with the little girl, trying to get the angel back.
Yeah.
Trying to get the girl back, not the angel.
Yeah.
Anya's too late. The angel won't give her back.
Or can't give her back, Adrian says.
Exactly. Now there's a gap.
We probably could have just read the
Mallory
story.
says. We should have, probably.
It's fine.
But then it's the strangling.
Anya's getting strangled.
Yeah. And then it's the freaking hot air balloon with the stool that she was painting at knocked over.
And it's nighttime.
There's a moon.
It's all abandoned. Whatever Anya's setup is abandoned.
Uh-huh.
And then.
Well,
and then a man arrives in the forest carrying tools. They look like a pick and a shovel. Picks. A pick.
And then the man drags Anya's body through the forest. Dun, dun, dun.
He uses a shovel to dig a hole.
And then he buries the body.
So the man strangled
Anya.
Not necessarily. He moves her body. He buries her. So they put the story together.
That's the end. That's all the pictures we have.
Yeah. And they're like, but there's like some missing pieces.
There's got to be a gap here.
What's going on here? Come on. Like, what the dang heck? And, yeah. They say the story starts in daytime, but the man doesn't show up until the night.
Yeah, so like where does he show up?
Missing pieces.
Yeah.
Come on. Who's this man?
Who could he be?
And then they start to think about Anya.
Yeah.
And how she doesn't seem to understand English.
Yeah, and she, like, you think that someone, a ghost, a spirit, a demon, whatever, who can possess you long enough to draw a picture would be able to, like, communicate with words in some way.
They're like, why is she choosing imagery to communicate with us? Why doesn't she just tell us outright?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, she may not speak
Maybe
English.
she doesn't speak English.
She's got all these weird cryptic messages.
She does.
But...
So then they're like, wait a second. So those letters that she was spelling out on the Ouija board, maybe they actually do spell something out.
Yeah.
We gotta go find them.
Maybe they do. And they're sort of speculating that, because in the collected works they got, that little book of hers, she was from Europe. And they suspect that, like, Barrett isn't her real name. Like, it was changed when she immigrated. And they're like, she must be speaking a different language.
Yeah.
But yeah, they decide to go to Mitzi's.
They do.
And when they get there, nobody's answering.
Yeah. But the TV's on. It's real loud, so they start yelling for Mitzi.
And Mitzi won't answer.
She's not answering.
And so, like, I guess we go in.
Yeah.
And the back door's unlocked.
Yeah, because Mallory's like, she's here.
Yeah.
Like, if the door is unlocked, she's here.
Right.
I know
just leave
Mitzi.
It open.
Mitzi's crazy.
Mitzi's a little nuts. She's cuckoo.
Cuckoo crazy pants.
And so they just let themselves in.
Yeah.
But Mitzi's nowhere in sight.
She's not.
She searches all the rooms. She sees, like, a freaking rubber band. Whatever. What?
Like a tourniquet. Rubber tourniquet.
Rubber band.
Yeah. Like doctors use when they take your blood.
Yeah.
Or when you do drugs.
Yeah, drugs in this case.
And she's like, maybe it's for diabetes.
I don't think you need one of those for diabetes. For insulin shots.
Yeah.
But any frickin' who.
I guess it's when she also steps on a syringe in the living room and she's like, oh, diabetes. No, honey. And there's, like, syringe caps all over the place. Yeah. And, you know, it looks like drugs. Mitzi crazy.
Uh-huh. And they start searching through her shit and find the note she took from the frickin' seance.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the damn hell?
Yeah.
What is all this about? And as Adrian's trying to decipher what it says, the cops show up.
Certain cops show up banging on the door.
Banging.
They're like, cop knock, let me in.
Let me in. No, they say, I see you. You gotta come outside.
Come out here.
Get
Hands
out
up.
Here. What the dang heck are you doing in there, kids?
Yeah.
And apparently, Mitzi's body was found.
Yeah, she dead.
She dead.
She was found in the woods.
Just found in the woods in her nightgown. And the cops start, like, questioning their relationship with Mitzi and why the heck they were in the house. And they're like, well, hear me out. We came to check on her. And she wasn't here.
Yeah.
So we were trying to see what's good.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell her about their investigation into Annie. And how they just came to retrieve the note.
Yeah.
And show her the note and stuff. And they ask her, you know, what she was wearing when they last saw her, if she has dementia. They're just asking a bunch of cop questions.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally. And they said that there's no sign of injury on Mitzi.
Yeah.
Like, nothing seems to be amiss. It wasn't, you know, brutal.
Yeah.
And they assume it's just, like, an old person who messed up their drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, prescription drugs, not, like, drugs.
Yeah, they don't think she's, like, doing hard drugs.
Yeah, and Mallory thinks to herself, like, oh, just you wait till you go outside.
Yeah. And
search for a second. And when they mention Annie, one of the police people is like, yo, we know about her. And she asks, like, for more information or something.
Mm-hmm.
she's like, oh, I'm not going to spoil a good story.
Yeah.
Which is, like, odd. What do you mean? She says, especially when there's an even bigger mystery out in those woods right now. Let me know if you think of anything. So, like, what? What's the story to be spoiled, huh?
I know.
Cop?
What could it be?
Huh, cop?
Huh? Tell
Cop?
me.
Come
Tell
on,
me,
cop.
cop.
Damn it.
Tell me. Tell me, Nesta. Tell me.
Yeah. But they leave. Adrian and freaking Mallory go.
Yep. They go sit by the pool. Because what else would you do when you find out your friend's dead?
Mm-hmm.
Sit by the pool.
Why not? Well, they're still trying. They have a limited amount of time.
They do. And they're kind of watching the things, like, happening around Mitzi's house. They can see it from where they're sitting by the pool.
Yeah. And Mallory had given the cop Caroline and Ted's information to call if they wanted. And Caroline calls to, like, check in. And she's like, I'm fine. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
She tells her that it might be, like, a medication error. And Caroline says, like, you know what's real weird? On a Thursday night, we heard Mitzi yelling. And then she just kind of left her house. And it was, like, no big deal. But we just, like, we heard.
She said she was arguing with someone in her house, telling them to leave. And then all of a sudden she was chasing them, saying, wait, I want to come with you.
Yeah.
Caroline.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. Or yeah.
I guess they're probably trying to make Mitzi sound crazy.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know.
I know, but, like, that's a bad story.
I know.
Once you know what we know. It's dumb.
Yeah, and Mallory's like, well, what did you do? And she's like, well, we were gonna call the cops, but then she came outside. Oh, this is when she was running after the person.
Yeah.
I want to come with you.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, did you see him? She's like, no, I just assumed it was a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that story?
Yeah.
Very strange.
And then she asks Mallory if Mallory wants them to come home early. And Mallory's like, hell no, stay away.
Yeah, give me more time.
Yeah,
please. But then, they're talking, still trying to figure it out. The decoding the message. Adrian's working at it. He's like, it must be a word thing where all the certain letters are certain things.
An anagram, or is that the right? An anagram, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Adrian asks, like, do you think that something happened to Mitzi in relation to Anya? And she's like, I don't think Anya's violent. Like, I really don't think that's what happened. Oh, no. They think about it. She's like, I never thought she'd be violent. But maybe she is. Maybe she wants revenge against everyone in Springbrook. And Adrian's like, well, why would it take her so long to go on her crazy rampage?
Yeah.
And then she's looking as the police are wrapping up their investigation and, like, put an X on the door and has a grand revelation that the message.
Yeah.
There's, like, it's a whole jumble of letters with quite a few X's. And she realizes that the X's are spaces.
Yeah. Not X's.
Yeah.
What?
I know. I know.
They're not X's. Yep. So they put those words together and then they, like, Google Translate the words.
Yeah. Because it's in another language.
Ends up coming in Hungarian.
Yes.
And the words are, yes, beware, thief, help, flower.
Mm-hmm. Which was really confusing.
And Adrian's like, help flower? What does that mean?
What the heck?
What the hoot?
Yeah, that's a weird message.
Yeah.
Doesn't really clarify really anything.
Yeah, no.
But, like, beware, thief, help. It's all...
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Adrian's like, you gotta tell Caroline.
This is proof.
Of what?
Yeah, literally.
I'm like, you could write anything down. It's possible to do without a ghost. In case you didn't know.
And Mallory says as much. She's like, this isn't proof at all.
Yeah, yeah. And a little while, I don't know when this happened, but she did end up calling that retirement home where Annie's daughter supposedly lives.
Oh, yeah.
And left a voicemail or, like, told the person something.
The receptionist
that she wanted
lady.
to talk to her.
Oh, yeah, and the receptionist lady, whoever answered the phone, tells her that Annie has dementia.
When they call back, they just call now, yeah. And are like, yeah, she can't, I could put it on the phone, but she has dementia. Probably wouldn't know who the heck you are.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. She wouldn't be able to answer anything. And Mallory's like, okay, but do you know, like, her mom's name? Like, do you know anything?
She's like, I can't tell you that.
And she's like,
even
well,
if I did.
Shit, fine.
Yeah.
I guess that's a dead end. I'm just not going to go look into that any further.
Yeah.
But then...
Oh, well, and the lady tells her, too, doesn't she, that... she's like, but you could come visit if you want. These are visiting hours, and maybe you'd have better luck that way.
Yeah.
Rather than on the phone.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, kind of a long drive.
It's like a 6-hour drive.
To get there and back.
Yeah.
And, of course, they're on a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
But her and Adrian decide to, like, go out to dinner later. And she's like, I just don't know what the heck to do. I'm running out of time. I don't know how to convince him. And he's like, maybe there'll be new pictures. And she's like, well, no, because Anya needs someone to draw through, and Teddy's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's at the breach.
Yeah. And Adrian's like, well, maybe you should volunteer yourself.
Yeah. And I'll stay and watch you.
I'll watch.
And she's like, but I can't have sleepovers. He's like, you're already fired. What the fuck?
And they're not
relax.
Home. Come on.
I'm going to lay with you. It's fine.
Come on.
Relax. So they get back to the cottage.
Yeah.
And they, like, you know, settle in. Adrian's in the corner in a chair.
Mm-hmm.
She gets, like, comfy, changes, gets into her bed.
Yep.
And goes to sleep. And it's surprisingly easy to fall asleep. Weird. It seems to happen that way when Anya wants to use your body. And she wakes up later on.
Well, she has a dream.
Oh, yeah.
She has a dream that she's in the Enchanted Forest.
Yep.
And she's looking up at the sky.
She's being dragged.
And she's being pulled by a shadowy figure.
And she's paralyzed and unable to move.
Yep.
And then is at the bottom of a hole.
Mm-hmm.
And her body's all twisted up and messed up. And the stuffed rabbit is thrown down on top of her. And
a plastic
bear.
ball.
And
the man says, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
His voice sounds hollow like he's talking underwater. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Buddy.
But then she's buried, alive.
Yeah.
She's still alive. And she can't open her eyes. That's wrong. I don't know what I was saying. She opens her eyes. And she's in her cottage. It's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the heck? She has her sketch pad on her.
Uh-huh.
And Adrian, she, like, wakes up, too.
Yeah, she doesn't see him at first. Yeah. She thinks he left, and then he's, like, by her bed on the floor, curled up with a pillow. I know, what buddy.
And she's like, did I freaking draw anything? And he's like, well, yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yes and no.
It's
just a page of scribbles.
Scribbles with a couple holes.
Giant black scribbles.
Scribs. And she's like, well, maybe Anya's telling us she's finished. Like, there's no more pictures to be added or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, maybe, perhaps. And then she invites him up in bed. She's like, come here.
Yeah.
Just get up here. Come here. But then, the next morning...
Yeah.
Adrian decides he's going to go to the retirement home.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to drive to Akron. You stay here.
Yeah. So you're here because Caroline and Ted and Teddy are all coming home to have a little...
To have a party?
Yeah.
Like a going away party for her?
Ugh.
Icky.
Yeah. And yeah, he's going to go. So he leaves.
Yeah.
And the trifecta get back.
They do.
Mallory spent her morning packing.
Uh-huh.
And they get back and it's time for like a pool party.
Yep.
And Ted and Teddy are swimming with her.
Mm-hmm.
And they say something about how the water makes Caroline itchy.
Yeah.
With chlorine. I don't know.
Like, undoes her pH balance. Messes with her pH balance.
Super sensitive skin. But I'm like, I was just like, why is what?
Yeah.
What, does that mean anything?
Is that important?
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not.
I wonder if it has something to do with her tattoo, though. She doesn't want anyone to see her tattoo.
Because, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's true. And, he does mention that. Like, she has it. No, that was earlier. That was a long time ago. When Ted and Mallory refers swimming. He said that
Yeah,
Caroline
because
had an
he looked at
embarrassing
her tattoo on her ass.
Being the creep that he is.
And he was like, don't worry, Caroline has one too.
That she hides. Anyway, they're doing the swim stuff, and they make her a bunch of food, and it's like good. And as the parents are cleaning up, she's taking care of Teddy.
I love how they fired her, but they're like, you can still take care of him until you're gone.
Yeah, you go ahead. We don't need that. And so she's hanging out with Teddy while they're cleaning up inside, and, you know, he asks about Norristown, which is where she's going, where her sponsor lives, and they're just kind of chilling. And she's like, I doubt I'll ever see him again. I don't know about all this. And she's like, we could be pen pals.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd like it. Cool. And then they talk about how he's like, do you take a plane to Norristown?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, buddy, it's just a drive. And he's like, I'd like to go on a plane one day. And she's like, okay, but you were on one when you came back from Barcelona. Because in the beginning, Russell had said that they had just gotten back from Barcelona.
Yeah, they, like, moved back from Barcelona.
Yeah.
And bought this house.
Right. And so when he's like, I've never been on a plane, she's like, what?
She's like, you were when you came home. And he's like, we drove home from Barcelona. You can't do that, buddy.
Yeah.
There's a big old ocean in between.
He's like, they had a big underwater tunnel. Ask my dad, it's true. And she's like, no, dude, no. What the heck? It's very strange. She's like, the imagination of this kid, I guess. But then she gets a call.
Gets a phone call from Adrian.
Yeah. And he says that he chatted with
he
Dolores.
sends her a picture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of a elderly black woman wearing... That's not important. And then he sends her a second picture. It's the same woman next to a man in his 50s.
Yeah. And it's apparently her son, Curtis. And they're definitely not Hungarian.
Yeah, no. It's Dolores and Curtis.
And they say that Annie never actually died.
Yeah.
That freaking George or whatever, the cousin of Annie, like, she was getting attention from a bunch of dudes around town, and George was embarrassed by it. And okay, so she's like patronizing, or not what is the word? It's not patronizing. Maybe it is. She's hanging out with dudes, okay?
Fraternizing?
Yeah, there we go. And ends up getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And she tells George, and he's like, scandal, get the heck out of here.
You gotta
go. And he's real pissed, obviously. So she packs up all her shit and disappears.
Yeah. And he goes and buys buckets of pig's blood. Splashes them all over the cabin.
Yeah.
And, like, makes it look like she was murdered.
Right. Yeah, it was like an interracial relationship.
Yeah,
in the time
which
was very like frowned
scandal.
upon, scandalous.
Yeah.
So he sets up a whole freaking thing to make it look like she was murdered and taken instead of saying she got knocked up by a black man.
Yeah.
George, relax.
Yeah.
But she was fine and safe and died happy and had a bunch of kids and a bunch of grandkids.
Yeah.
Annie never was murdered, guys. What the heck?
Dun, dun, dun.
What the heck?
Yeah.
It's not Annie. Annie and Anya are not one and the same.
Yeah.
So what the dang toots? They get off the call. And Teddy, first Adrian's like, I'm coming home. I'll be by midnight.
I'll be home by midnight, yeah.
She's like, okay, I'll be here.
Yeah, and when she gets off the phone... Caroline's at the edge of the pool, like, telling Teddy, it's getting late, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
You gotta get out of the pool.
Right.
Rinse off.
Yeah. So Mallory takes him to the outdoor shower. And the cop approaches, the one from earlier.
Yeah.
Who she'd talked to.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hear you're leaving. And Mallory's like, yeah, it is what it is, my dude. And at one point during this conversation, Teddy's like, Mallory, there's a big bug. You gotta kill it.
It's on the soap.
Yeah, and he's been showering. And so he's naked, obviously.
Yeah.
And she goes in, and there's no bug there.
There's no bug. And he says, like, are we getting arrested?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, we'll talk about it in a minute.
What?
Hold on. The conversation where Teddy asked her if she can see her girl parts.
Oh, yeah.
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
I
didn't even think about that.
I know, me neither, until just now.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, there's no bug. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, I think that he wanted her to open the door because he wanted to, like, secretly talk to her. Mm-hmm. Because he was like, are we going to get arrested?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, buddy, we're fine.
And he's like, no, it's okay. Everything's fine. And the cop says, Mallory, you look like you've just seen a ghost when she comes out of the shower.
Yeah.
And they are chatting about Annie, and she's like, I convinced myself of this whole thing, and I just, it was a waste of time. Can't believe people are spreading the lies, because she talks about how Annie's alive, and the cop's like, oh, yeah. That was the part of the story I didn't want to ruin for you.
Yeah.
Ha, 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 ha. And she says, she's about to say something. She's like, we need to talk.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you before, Anya isn't a name, it's...
No. She tells her that they looked at Mitzi's cell phone, and Mitzi was in the midst of sending her a message.
You're right, I read it wrong.
And that's the message.
What it says.
Yeah.
Anya isn't a name, it's...
But she never finished the message, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, how is that possibly a typo? She tells the cop it's freaking Teddy's invisible friend. Mm-hmm. And...
Teddy yells from the shower, I know she's not real.
Yeah. And she says that she talked to Caroline, the cop does, earlier, and Caroline had told her about the, hearing Mitzi arguing, whatever.
Yeah. She asks Mallory if she heard anything, and Mallory's like, I wasn't here.
I
was at a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cop says, like, it unfortunately seems to be drug-related, like she OD'd.
Yeah.
And, Mallory asks if it's heroin, and she's like, I don't know. Or how did you know? Mm-hmm. She's like, just a guess from all the shit I saw in her house.
Yeah.
But as Brig's leaving, she is trying to keep her composure. Mm-hmm. And says there's one thing that she knows for sure. The Maxwells have been lying to her. And now, guys, this is when we start unraveling the goddamn story.
Yeah, so she waits until, like, she knows for sure that Teddy's asleep.
Yeah.
And then she goes to the big house to talk to Ted and Caroline.
She sure does.
And she freaking confronts them, dudes.
Yeah. And, she's, okay. Well, yeah.
My goodness.
She sees that of the drawings that she drew all over their walls. Mm-hmm. They missed a couple of pictures.
Missed two down below.
Missed two down below.
Yeah. Two little tiny ones.
Yeah. And the first one, she calls it a wand.
Yeah.
Looks like a wand. It doesn't look like a wand.
No.
Relax. It definitely looks like a taser.
Yeah.
Sending out a shock is the first painting.
Uh-huh. Right next to an outlet.
Yeah.
So, weird. Power,
They're related. And the next one is the angel blasting Anya, presumably, with a big shock of lightning or something.
Yeah, or a taser.
Yeah. And so Mallory asks Caroline, she's like, is that the Vipertech stun gun?
And she's like, what?
What the heck?
What do you mean?
She's like, if we try to interpret everything in these pictures, it's going to be a long night.
God.
Yeah. And then she tells them, she's like, so, by the way, I learned something interesting about Mitzi. She was trying to send me a text right before she died. Mm-hmm. And it was to say that Anya is not a name because it's translated to mean mommy in Hungarian.
Yeah.
And Caroline's like, what? Really?
What?
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know that.
And Ted keeps trying to give her tea.
Yeah.
He really wants her to drink this tea.
He's obsessed with making her drink the tea.
And she won't.
Yeah.
It's probably good.
Yeah.
But he keeps trying to get her to drink tea. And then she starts questioning them a little bit. She's like, hey, so what about the plane?
Yeah, Teddy says he's never been on a plane.
And they're like, oh,
kind of weird.
Silly mix-up. We accidentally double dosed him on Benadryl.
Yeah, he slept the entire flight.
Funny. And Caroline is like, really, Ted? That's the thing you're going with? Which, like, to undermine him in a conversation where you're obviously being called out.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, Caroline, you can't even pretend to go along with it.
Yeah.
And then Mallory's like, why didn't you tell me Teddy is a girl?
Mm-hmm. Plot twist!
Yeah, this is why she looked like a ghost.
Yeah.
And why Teddy was asking about girl parts.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And Caroline was like, well, that's offensive.
God, I hate her.
Oh, God, Caroline's the worst. And she says, I saw him in the shower. And Ted is like, you almost didn't. Like, find out.
Yeah.
That Teddy was a girl.
Yeah.
And Caroline's like, God, it's not a secret. We're not ashamed of it, okay?
Yeah.
Jeez, he just wants to be a girl. Or boy, I mean.
Yeah. And Mallory's like, you're telling me that your 5-year-old is transgender and it just never came up?
Yeah.
And Caroline blames Mallory being religious. She's like, well, we didn't tell you because we knew you would have a problem with it because of your beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mallory's like, I don't have a problem with transgender people.
Right. Right. And then she starts putting together that the school that Teddy was supposed to go to, they keep calling because, you know, they can't possibly well, okay. Sorry. She puts a lot of things together.
She's
like, it makes sense that Teddy's a girl. Mm-hmm. The purple striped shirt that he only wants to wear
the only shirt he'll wear.
The freaking avoidance of
the barbershop.
Yeah. The avoidance of any other little boy. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes a lot of sense. And she's like, all of those annoying questions about the kindergarten registration.
They don't have vaccination records.
You don't have a birth certificate. Or you could buy a forgery if you have enough money. But they're super serious about the vaccines.
Yeah.
And Ted's like, no, we had a great pediatrician in Barcelona. And
Mallory's like, stop talking about Barcelona, Ted. You were never there.
Obviously, God. And
your Spanish is terrible. You can't even say potato.
I like how potato's the example. Potato. And then she surmises that they stole someone's little girl.
Yeah.
Dressed her as a boy. Started making her believe that she was a boy.
And you're getting away with it because she's 5.
Yeah. And
what a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
And you're getting away with it because she's 5.
Yeah. Okay. And she's like, what was your plan, guys? Like, really? Did you think you could, like, withhold this charade for the rest of her life? What about when she becomes a teenager? Mm-hmm. And people start asking questions? Like, to do this, you'd have to be fucking nuts.
Yeah. But she stops at, you'd have to be, because she's like, I don't want to say crazy and, like, set these crazy people off.
Yeah. And then
she's like, I gotta go pack.
She's like, wow, I really should not have said all of this to them. I should have talked to the fucking detective.
Absolutely.
Because now I'm exposing myself, and now they know that I know.
Yeah.
They know that I know that I know that they know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit. And she's like, I gotta pack. And Caroline just says, Ted.
Yeah.
As she's getting up to leave.
Yeah.
And Ted... What does Ted do, Sarah?
Well, he freaking knocks her over the head with a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Or a glass.
Yeah. And they're bickering. So now Mallory's on the floor, like, almost unconscious. Mm-hmm. She's not doing good. And she hears them fighting. Arguing. Like, something's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Go get it in the kitchen.
It's in the drawer. Where I keep the stamps.
Yep.
She's trying to get to her phone, but she, like, can't move because she's injured.
Yeah.
She's got a head injury.
She's not good. She's, like, crawling over to it slowly. Mm-hmm. And Caroline tells Ted that, and he's like, 1 second.
Yeah.
And so Caroline comes and, like, is moving over her, and Mallory realizes, like, a minor advantage here. Mm-hmm. Like, to catch her off guard.
Yeah.
She, like, kicks her. She freaking does something. Roll onto her side. Oh, glass. There's some glass. Uh-huh. And
She kicks her in the shin.
Yeah.
And Caroline collapses on top of her.
Knocks her over. She knows that she's stronger because she's been training all of this training that freaking Russell's been making her do.
Yeah.
She kicks her, and they start like wrestling. She's trying to fight her.
Mm-hmm.
And in this, she tears her shirt and notices that on her back,
she's got a freaking tattoo of freaking wings.
Wings!
Little angel wings. Or big, I would imagine, I guess. Wings.
Remember
you guys.
Angels in the picture?
Wings.
Angel wings.
Wings. Wings.
Wangs. But then she gets knocked out.
Yeah.
I think Ted comes and does... No, the Viper. The Viper gets her. They tase her.
Does it?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. That's what Ted was digging around for in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The taser, I think.
If I knock him down, maybe he'll drop the Viper. Maybe I can... Yeah. And then she wakes up in
she's tied up.
Little cabin.
Tied up. Her arms are restrained.
Mm-hmm.
She's on a chair. Tied up. And Caroline is there being real freaking creepy.
Yeah. She's got rubber gloves on.
Yeah.
Or latex or rubber, I don't know.
Gloves.
Doesn't matter.
She's got gloves. And she is like, I was trying to give you a nice send-off. Like, you could have just left Mallory.
You little bitch.
Could have kept our fucking secret. Oh, my God. And she starts to tell Mallory the story of what's about to go down. She's like, so, you're a recovered addict, and you definitely stumbled on some drugs in Mitzi's fucking house, and you OD'd, and we find you in the morning.
Yeah.
And you didn't know that Mitzi's heroin was cut with fentanyl.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's planning on injecting her with heroin and killing her.
Yeah.
And that's so fucked up.
I know. It's a terrible way to kill somebody.
Yeah, especially a recovering addict who's, like, really proud of the progress that they've made. Like, what a way to go out.
Yeah. I know.
That's terrible.
That's really bad. Especially, you're painting a picture of this person who's now deceased.
Yeah.
Everyone's
going to be like, I knew that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's terrible.
It's sad, dude.
It's freaking terrible.
Freaking sad.
But...
Why are we the way we are?
I don't know. But then Mallory's trying to talk to Caroline to, like, keep her distracted.
Yeah.
Because it's like 11-something and she knows that freaking Adrian's going to get there at
25 minutes to stall to get Adrian there.
Yeah. And she starts talking about Anya. And she's like, okay, you're the angel in the drawings. You've got to be. You got the dang wings.
Yeah.
And you must have hit Anya with your freaking stun gun because you always have it on you. And then you strangled her.
Yeah, and Caroline tries to say that it was self-defense.
Uh-huh.
No, bitch.
And she starts asking questions as Caroline's preparing the spoon and filling the syringe. And she's like, you don't even know what the situation was.
You don't know
like,
what I've been through.
No. But then she starts telling her the whole goddamn story. And apparently, Caroline and Ted were having fertility issues.
Yeah.
They had been for a long time. They decided to buy a house somewhere else, get away for a while.
Yeah, but they thought that, like, taking the stress away from, like, being in the big city or whatever, wherever the fuck they were, would maybe help them, like, get pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they moved to this
quiet town
somewhere, yeah.
And, well, I guess, okay, we're jumping the gun a little. It doesn't matter too much. As she's preparing it, she says, he remembers the rabbit. And Caroline's, what?
Yeah.
And she's like, the drawings. There's a bunch of rabbits. And she tells her to, like, look at the pictures that are in her nightstand. Which gets the better of Caroline. Like,
it does. She gets curious.
Curious about it. And so she starts to try to encourage Caroline to draw her side of the story. Because Caroline's like, this is just one side of the story. It's not the whole picture. Even though it is the story, you're just admitting that.
Yeah.
You don't even know my side. And she's like, why don't you draw it? Karen's like, you're trying to incriminate me.
Yeah, you're trying to get me to confess.
Uh-huh. She's like, no, dude, just tell me what the fuck happened. But anyway, they moved to this small town. And friggin' Caroline was going out and walking.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah. And she went to... No, I guess that's the day it happened. Never mind.
But she was going around walking, and every day she would see this mom and her daughter. Mm-hmm. And the daughter was always, like, sitting with a phone.
Yeah.
And while the mom painted.
Mm-hmm. And ignored her child.
Right.
Supposedly.
That's what Caroline...
interpreted it as.
Right. And what made me laugh about all this, she's like... Margit is her name, by the way. This is Anya's real name.
Yeah.
We learned that, too. Margit Baroth.
Oh, yeah, because Anya just means mother. Mommy. Mm-hmm. Mom. Mama.
But she was envious of the relationship with her daughter, but then she felt that Margit was, like, neglecting her, or that it was... She says, I've read a lot of research on screen time, Mallory. It's toxic for a child's imagination. Can't believe she was doing that, letting her watch YouTube. Which, like, okay, say what you want about screen time, but relax. You aren't a fucking mother to this person. People can parent as much as they want.
And she literally gave Teddy a tablet.
Yeah, I know. Ironic.
To let him play Angry Birds.
Yeah, yeah. But she says it's, like, neglectful for all of that. Yeah. And so one day after seeing this mom and daughter many times,
yeah,
she goes to a hot air balloon
festival. Yeah.
Which is the one in the drawings, friends.
Yeah.
And she sees the little girl
chasing the bunny.
So Caroline goes after her.
Uh-huh.
Worried
like,
about her safety.
Make sure she's okay and take her back to her mother.
Yeah.
But then she changes her freaking mind.
Yeah. She's like, you didn't even notice her. Like, you're neglectful. And she was getting pissed about it. And so when fucking... She's like, I had to do something. I couldn't ignore. Also, the kid's name's Flora.
Yeah.
Flora. Yeah. And she's like, I just want to take spend a little time with her. So as she's following this little girl in the forest, the mom comes running after her.
Yeah, Margit actually did know that the little girl, she noticed that she was gone. So she came looking for her.
Yeah. And when she did, she was pissed.
Yeah.
The Margit recognized Caroline.
Yeah.
And was, like, mad.
Yeah.
Assumingly because she's like, you're creepy.
Well, they had an argument. Caroline went and, like, yelled at her
about the screen time.
Margit didn't understand her because she doesn't speak English. But they, like, had a interaction where they just yelled at each other a bunch.
Yeah.
And so she recognized her, obviously.
Yeah, is pissed about it.
Yeah.
And so Caroline tased her. And apparently Margit had a neurological disorder that made her seize.
Yeah.
And she's like... she took Flora to, like, help her not be afraid.
Yeah.
To see what was happening next. And she doesn't really remember the rest, is what she says. To tell you the truth. I'm sure you don't.
Of course you don't.
And so she covered her body with leaves, took Flora home, told Ted about it, and made Ted go deal with it.
Yeah. So Ted goes and buries the body at night.
Right.
Hence the man with the shovel.
But, like, somebody had to have strangled her, obviously. Caroline. Miss, I don't remember what happened. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Ugh, I hate her.
Yeah. And she's like, it should have ended there. But then Margit's brother, she had a brother.
Oh, yeah. She just assumed that, like, she would bury this woman.
Yeah.
And no one would know that she was gone.
Because she was foreign.
Because she's foreign. Yeah. So, obviously, no one cares about her.
But then,
Caroline.
Margit's brother's a big deal in Seneca Lake, which is where they were living.
He owns this stupid goat farm.
Yeah.
Is what she says.
And he sponsored Margit and her husband, Joseph, to move from Hungary to the United States. Mm-hmm. And she didn't think about, like, Margit's car. Police found all of that.
Yeah.
And so the community's out looking for this little girl, obviously. So she's like, there's nothing we could do. We had to take freaking Flora and cut her hair, put her in boys' clothes, and we moved.
And she's like, it's like she transformed right before my eyes.
Yeah, she made her
a little boy.
God. And she was like, it was really hard in the beginning, but after the first year, like, we started becoming a family, and I was just treating him so well.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, everything's fine. She says, after all of that, of course, like, I never thought Margit would find us, but then Teddy started seeing a woman in a white dress, and she follows us from house to house. Like, they've moved a couple of times, and Margit's always there.
Yeah.
In all of our theorizing, we never once thought Teddy might be not Teddy.
Yeah, no.
I didn't think any of that.
Absolutely.
So I was like kind of surprised by all that.
I certainly didn't think that Teddy was the child in the painting.
No, me neither. I was like, Annie and Anya might be two different people, maybe mother and daughter.
Yeah.
We had all these back and forths. I certainly didn't think Teddy was a part of it.
Yeah. Annie and Anya certainly are two different people.
But freaking Caroline. Yeah. But freaking Caroline and Ted are nuts. We were right about that much.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, and it only gets worse.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, shit gets
crazy. Ew.
Yeah, I know. And then,
at the end of all of this.
Yeah.
Caroline injects.
Well, okay.
Caroline.
Mallory also asks what happened to Mitzi. And Caroline says, what's about to happen to you?
Yeah.
Same thing that's about to happen to you.
Caroline murdered Mitzi.
Yep.
So then Caroline injects Mallory with
supposedly heroin cut with fentanyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
leaves her to die.
Yeah. And she has a vision of Margit waiting for her.
Yeah, in the shadows.
And she's like,
this must be afterlife.
And I realized I've already OD'd.
Yeah.
So she thinks she's dying.
She sure does.
But alas.
She sure does. Yeah, she thinks she's about to go. She keeps asking Margit to help her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not afraid of Margit. She's like happy that she's there.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to frickin' help me. And then she starts thinking about, she like recalls the memory of two drawings of Margit with Flora, and how Teddy drew a similar one. There's one of both Anya having drawn it and Teddy.
Yeah.
And she's like, man, I shouldn't have been so distressed. She starts feeling Margit's feelings.
Yeah. I'm going to read a little quote.
Do it.
I can feel Margit's grief as plainly as my own. I should have been paying more attention. I shouldn't have been so distracted. If I had just been a little more careful, everything would still be okay. Or maybe it's my grief, because I also hear Margit saying, you're not to blame. Make peace with the past. Forgive yourself. I'm not sure if I'm consoling her or she's consoling me. I can't tell. Oh my God. I can't tell where my guilt ends and hers begins. Maybe it's the kind of grief we will never ever shake, not even after we're dead.
Yeah. But then Ted shows up.
Freaking Ted shows up.
And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm
just
real
so
sorry.
Tight. Yeah.
And she's like, your wife drugged me. And he's like, no. I replaced it with baby powder.
It's just baby powder.
It's okay.
You're fine.
It's all right. She really went overboard. My God.
Yeah, he says she really went overboard with these knots. I need a knife.
Uh-huh. And Mallory's like, what are you doing, bro? And he's like, protecting you, Mallory.
I've always protected you.
Don't you remember your job interview? All those rude and nasty questions about your qualifications? I was trying to scare you away. Ted's a real big creep.
Yeah.
Star's getting a real big creep time, USA.
Listen, if he really wanted to save her, wouldn't he have just continued being a horrible, mean dick after that?
Yeah, make her quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scare her away.
No, he liked her immediately. Yeah. That's why he flipped a switch so quick, was because he's like, well, you've already accepted the job. I can't scare you away anymore, so I'm going to be creepy.
Yeah. I'm going to jack
Try
off
to get
in your
you
bed.
to like me. Yeah. And he goes on to tell her that, he's pulled all of his money out of his IRA account, and they're going to go away together to Whidbey Island. Yeah. We got to get out of here before freaking Caroline comes back, and she's like, you're going to leave Teddy? And he's like, well, I love him, but, he's sweet.
Yeah.
But he can't come.
Well, and he says, we can't have Margit and Caroline following us.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, he can stay with his two mommies.
Yeah.
And they can fight it out.
Yeah, he says that, Caroline won't chase them if they leave Teddy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which I don't know about all that.
I don't either.
Because now Mallory knows the damn truth.
Yeah.
Ted's absolutely insane. But, she, like, goes to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
He's like, fast as you can. We gotta get out of here. He's all manic and fucking crazy. And she goes in the bathroom, realizes she definitely can't get out of the window in there because it's way too small. She
pushes the screen out and tries, but she's like, nope.
Yeah. And then when she comes out, he, like, looks startled or something. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what's going on? And so she distracts him by kissing him or hugging him or something.
Yeah, she, like, puts her head on his shoulder.
Yeah, and so they get all her stuff and are ready to start heading out. Mm-hmm. And then Ted gets shot.
Yeah.
Right in the freaking chest. Left shoulder.
Yeah.
And he ends up on the floor, bleeding a bunch. And Caroline is coming through the freaking door.
Yep. And with Mitzi's gun.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Bitch.
God damn it, Caroline.
Yeah.
And she's like, were you really gonna leave with him? What the fuck? And she's like, listen, he's really creepy. Caroline goes on to just, like, shit on Ted.
He's been watching you this entire time.
Yeah, you know that camera or the smoke alarm?
Wonder why that smoke alarm doesn't go off even when you're burning food? It's a camera.
Yeah, he watches you all the time. He always waits for you to get in the shower.
So that explains the mosquito buzzing.
Her feeling like she's being watched all the time.
Gaze perception.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Icky.
I know.
But I mean, we knew he was a creep, right?
Oh, for sure. We called it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And, she is like, please just let me go. I'm not going to tell anybody. And Caroline's like, oh, I know you won't because you are the one who killed Ted.
Yep.
With Mitzi's
using
gun.
The gun you stole from Mitzi's house.
And then there was a struggle, and I managed to grab the pistol and then shoot you back. Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, so I'm going to need to pose you right. So, like,
yeah, could you
step
into the kitchen,
grab a knife.
Open that drawer and pull a knife out.
You need to look like you're trying to defend yourself. So just go stand over there.
Ugh.
And as she's doing all of this, Ted somehow gets up. Mm-hmm. And he freaking grabs her, Caroline, by the legs. And she just leaves. She runs.
Yeah.
She's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
And as she's running, she hears a bunch of gunshots in the cottage.
Yeah. Well, and she's like, I should just leave, but Teddy is still in the house.
Yeah.
So I gotta go get him.
About to try to go to Adrian's house, and she's like, no.
Yeah.
Poor Teddy. So she runs into the house.
Goes into the house.
Wakes him up. He's all confused and scared.
He won't run. He's scared. So she's got to carry him.
Yeah, the whole time.
Caroline's in the house at this point.
Yeah, but then as they're starting to make their way through the forest, Mallory's like, we know this forest better than anyone. Like, we're going to be able to get away.
Yeah.
We got to go to our tree that we hide all our little weapons we've collected. Rocks and whatever.
Yeah.
An arrowhead.
An arrow.
And when they get there, she, like, shoves Teddy up into the tree.
Yeah.
Climbs up herself, but they hear Caroline approaching. And as Caroline gets to the bottom of the tree, Teddy, like, Mallory is squeezing him so hard against
that
her.
He makes a
that
noise.
He, like, whimpers.
Yeah.
And Caroline, of course, looks up and finds them.
Naturally.
And then, she's got the gun still.
Yeah, and she's trying to coax Teddy out of the tree.
Yeah.
She's like, come here, baby.
Just come here. It's okay. It's mommy.
You're fine.
It's me.
And Mallory's like, no, dude, you gotta stay here, buddy.
Yeah.
And he's like, actually, I'm possessed right now. Let me go, please.
Yeah, but it seems like he's like, Mom, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, but he turns to Mallory and his eyes are white.
Yeah,
like they're rolled back in his head. And he has the arrow in his hand, by the way. So he hops out of the tree.
Starts stabbing the living shit.
Goes psycho on her.
Out of Caroline. In the neck, everywhere else.
Yeah.
Just keeps going.
Yeah.
Anya.
It's freaking Anya.
Revenge, bitch. Yes, queen.
Much
okay,
deserved.
Margit.
Yeah.
Facts. But the police have shown up at this point, and they end up finding them. But before they, like, get to their location, Mallory's like, oh, Jesus. Like, this can't be Teddy's fault.
Yeah.
And she starts, like, rubbing him all over her because he's covered in her blood.
Yeah, she rubs him on her. And then takes him to the river and, like, rinses him off. Gets the blood off of him.
As much as she can.
Yeah.
And then the cops come.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, you're safe, we got you. But then they're immediately suspicious of Mallory because she's covered in blood.
And there's a dead woman who's been stabbed.
Yeah. And, but as they're talking, I feel like they very quickly realize it's not Mallory's fault.
Yeah.
But she does say, like, it's me. I did it.
Yeah.
She doesn't want it to be on freaking Ted.
Yeah.
And then it flashes to a year later.
Teddy.
I know. I'm sorry. Ted is nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Let it be on Ted. Come on.
But it flashes to a year later.
It does.
And this is interesting because it's a frame, like the writing is framed differently.
Yeah. It's almost like a letter or a book that she's writing to Teddy.
Who's now
Mallory
Flora.
Is.
Yeah. And,
Flora, yes. Flora.
Yeah. And it turns out that Flora was reunited with her dad.
Yeah.
Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
And Mallory decided to go to college to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And Adrian finished his last year at college.
Yeah. And she's living with Russell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she reconnected with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom said that all these people, after hearing her story, have been trying to reach out. And that the woman from Penn State...
freaking experiment
came to the door. And she gave her a card. And Mallory's like, I
Uh-huh.
haven't contacted her yet. And I'm like...
Bitch, why?
Let me
We
tell
need
you
more.
how disappointed I was
Yeah.
that never came back again.
Me too.
In a way that was meaningful.
Yeah.
Like, sure, she
It was
felt
so
Ted
brushed
watching
over.
her. Yeah, I was pissed about
Yeah.
it because it was so bizarre and there was so much frame around it of like all these girls going in don't come out.
Yeah.
And it's something that's just such a weird thing that like disappeared. I was kind of pissed.
Yeah. Where did all the other girls go?
That's what I'm saying. And why would that woman show up on the doorstep? Like, did she know Mallory's real name?
Right.
She must have. I think she did, actually.
Yeah.
But why come back now?
Right.
And the only other time it was, like, touched on was her sense of being watched.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was never again I'm pissed about that.
I know.
And
maybe that was meant to be, like, the only reason it was even brought up in the beginning of the book.
Great.
But, man.
But, like, just, the same effect could have been met by being at the end, like, by the way, I've been watching you the whole time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, sure, like, get the willies about having a ghost. Like, I feel like you'd be paranoid if there was a ghost anyway without this, like, tingling I'm being watched feeling.
Right.
Especially if it was in the cabin where the woman supposedly died.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it made me mad. And as soon as that came up again, I was, like, mildly hopeful for a second. That it was going to be like, it was all a dream.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I was like, yeah. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Just so brushed over.
Yeah. I was kind of pissed about that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I want a whole separate book based on the theories that we had from the beginning of this book.
Do we need to write a book?
We probably should.
Okay. Books and Crannies authors. But any freaking who, she decides not to call a lady.
Yeah.
Rude. And then
I don't like you anymore, Mallory.
I know, I'm pissed. God damn it. But she goes to visit Flora, who's now been living with her dad for months.
It's a year.
A year.
Yeah.
And who has a bunch of cousins and whatever. And so she goes, and she's, like, kind of nervous that when she sees Flora presenting as a girl, it's going to be awkward and whatever.
Yeah.
But it isn't. She's like, I recognize her face immediately.
Yeah, but Flora's kind of weird.
She's awkward.
Yeah.
Mallory says something like, I realized because she hadn't visited earlier because the therapist said that Flora wasn't ready to see her. And when she sees her, Mallory's like, I realized it was Flora who didn't want to see me.
Yeah.
Like, she wanted to be away from all of this terrible shit.
And
that,
I don't blame her.
Makes adults uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And, like, you know. But then as she's leaving, Adrian and frickin' Mallory are leaving. Flora runs out and gives her a picture.
Yeah.
And it's the last picture in the book. And it's just freaking Flora and Mallory holding hands, being happy.
It's very sweet.
It's very
And she
sweet.
hugs her.
I know.
They had this, like, awkward conversation, I guess, where the dad, like, made her sit down and talk to them.
And Mallory
and she
got
was
her
just
gifts.
like,
Yeah. Mallory got her, like, paints and stuff.
Yeah.
And she asked the dad, like, is she still interested in art? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, that never really was her interest, though.
No,
It wasn't
it was
hers.
Anya.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was drawing before Anya. Before the, like, fancy drawings, you know?
Yeah, but that was because of Anya. Caroline said that Teddy never drew until they moved to that house.
Yeah, but Anya wasn't just in that house.
I guess Yeah. Anyway. Was it Anya or was it not? Who knows? But she got her, like, art supplies and stuff. But it ended very sweetly.
It did. Very
much like Flora saying, I remember you being there for me and, like, our time together. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to be moving on. Yeah. It's kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
What a wild ride.
I know. What'd you freaking rate it, Danielle?
Well, I gave it a 4.
Yeah.
I wanted to give it less, only because I'm so mad that the experiment part it intrigued me so much, and then it was dropped so easily. I didn't like that. And hear me out. I gave it a 4 still, because that's insane and I should relax. But it was a very good book, and the twist was unexpected. Yeah. I gotta give him that. I did not expect Teddy to be Flora. I didn't expect him to be at all involved in the whole Anya situation. I think that the build-up in the mystery was really cool. Mm-hmm. I really love the pictures in this book, and I love that it painted that
aspect of it.
Yes. I feel like I was reading a horror movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the trope of a little kid drawing creepy pictures is, like, in so many different scary movies. And I really liked that. I really enjoyed the read. Generally, across the board. Good writing. The pictures were fun. It added to the story. They were integral. Mm-hmm. And it was a good ending that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
So it's a 4. It's good. What'd you rate it?
I also rated it a 4 stars.
Look at us.
And I feel like I rated it 4 stars simply because of the first half.
Yeah.
Because I love the, like, conversations it brought up between you and I and all of the wild, crazy fucking theories that we had.
Yeah.
And I feel like if the experiment had been fleshed out even just a little more at the end, just a little bit, I would have given it 5 stars.
I feel that.
Because I really, really, really enjoyed it. It was such a, like, easy read.
Yeah, fast read.
Not because it was, like, you know, uncomplicated, but just because I was so into it.
Yeah,
like, it was just so easy to eat it up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. And I agree. The twist at the end, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Teddy's a girl. Wait a second.
Everything makes sense. Yeah, I think that the author did a very, very good job at making you speculate, like, all sorts of options. You know
so
what I mean?
many.
Obviously. Yeah. Like, just our conversation last episode alone shows you that he did his job as, like, a mystery
writer. Yeah.
And we were both so torn up by all these small things that could have been possibilities.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect the end. I'll give him that. Yeah. None of what we talked about, minus the parents being absolutely batshit.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was given.
Right. We're a part of the overall end.
Yeah.
And that was
cool.
I
love that. Yeah. I love a mystery that can, like, totally make me go, Jesus Christ.
What the damn hell?
Holy come
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good.
I didn't see that coming at all.
I know. I really, really enjoyed it. You guys
did too.
Read it if you haven't.
Yeah,
it's
please.
Very freaking good. And if you listen to this without reading it, what the hell are you doing? But, like,
it would be much better if you read it.
the book is better than us. I'll give it that.
We're better. We're better. It's us.
It's better at telling its own story.
I guess.
I don't know. What did y'all rate it? What's your ratings, friends?
Yeah, what are your ratings? Drop them in the comments.
Drop them in the freaking comments. And next week, we are taking a hard turn.
Again.
We're going romance vibe.
Yeah, we're going to be reading chapters 1 through 16, correct? 1 through 16 in Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Mm-hmm. That should be interesting.
It should be. We'll see how much we can actually talk about on the podcast without being children.
Without giggling.
We're just going to giggle the whole time. It'll be really fun. So read chapters 1 through 16 of Icebreaker if you have not already.
Yes.
Before next week.
And if you have and you want a refresher, you can buddy read it with us.
Yeah, do it.
So.
Come on. And, please subscribe or follow or do whatever it asks you to do on whatever platform you're on.
Ratings are great. Yeah.
Please leave us a rating. Please go find us on the socials, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Books Crannies Podcast.
Yes.
And interact with us, friends.
Yeah, we love talking to you guys.
We sure
do. We love hearing your guys' thoughts and opinions and laughing with you.
Yeah. And if you're bookies like us and want to potentially have the chance to win books, you should also follow us on TikTok. Because we do that occasionally.
Yeah.
And we have weird unhinged content.
Absolutely.
It's completely different than our podcast.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not completely. We're weird here too.
Yeah.
But if you want to see it in real time, so please go do the things.
Yes.
And
we love you forever.
We will. We love you already, but we'll love you more.
Yeah.
Come on, obviously.
Jeez.
But happy freaking reading.
Happy reading.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.